It's okay, it takes time. I know everything will be.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Strong. I am so excited, as I am every single week, to be bringing our next guest. For anyone tuning in for the first time, Strong is a platform that brings real people, women in season one, to talk about their life stories with the aim of creating global role models to support our youth, but also to support our community. We want to be talking about real life stories, real experiences, real challenges, and the examples of resilience from real people. Today brings us Andrea. Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you, Maria. Nice meeting you.
Thank you
Nice
so
to meet
much for joining us. Where are you calling in from today?
Well, I'm at home, like
Where,
most of us.
where's home today?
Well, I'm in Dubai. So yeah, I've been here for 13 years. And
Wow,
this is
fantastic.
now. Yeah.
I love your background. I feel like we're somewhere in the tropical.
Yes. I tried to bring a bit of Bali with me when I came back.
It's
So
so
yeah,
beautiful, so beautiful. Let's
thanks.
start let's start right at the beginning. I know that it's been a while that you've been wanting to be on the show, and you've kind of been yes, maybe, and here you are today. What is
Yeah.
your hope for our viewers after watching your episode?
Well, I hope some people can see my story and get something out of it, even if it's a small piece of advice or some inspiration, or I don't know, seeing that, yeah, women support each other, and we should empower each other. I think that's also a big message.
Amazing, and it's a great message. That's exactly what we want to be doing. So let's start right at the beginning, right from the start. Who is Andrea?
Okay, so I was born in Romania, and I've lived in several different countries over the years. Besides the roles that I have, or shall I start with the roles? I don't know. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. Um, yeah, I'm a very positive person. I think that's one of my strengths, and I'm very strong too. So I've been through different struggles, and I always came out of them strong. So I think that's one of my main characteristics. I try to stay positive and be optimistic.
That's amazing. I like how you started with I guess it's you described what you were, and then you talked about those roles as well. How do you define Andrea as an essence? Like if you were to kind of put Andrea on a stage, how would you define what she stands for, who she is?
Hmm, that's a good question. Well, I would describe her as a very strong woman, a woman that wants to be a role model for her daughter, that wants to be an inspiration for her daughter, and that takes many of her decisions right now based on that. Um, yeah, I think I've tried many different things in my life, and I'm proud of that. I'm happy to say that I feel that the last 10, 15 years were not wasted. They're filled with experiences. Um, so, yeah, I think I'm someone that is curious to learn more. Um, I learned about myself that I can adapt easily to change. And I learned that from a very young age because of traveling and moving from a country to country. I realized about myself that I adapt easily to new conditions, and that helped tremendously because I'm not afraid of change. um, yeah, and in like these circumstances, I think that's very important because so many things are happening that are out of our control.
Totally,
uh,
totally out
yeah.
of our control. So let's go back to you wanting to be a role model. And you mentioned your daughter. How old is she?
She's 5 years old.
quite an impressionable age, right? And I think it's also the stage where mommy is the superhero. Mommy is everything.
True.
It's a beautiful age for a child to be. And it's such an age that we know as their parents that they are watching everything we do. And
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I remember looking at my younger children and thinking, oh my goodness, they've just done something that I did, or they said something that I've said. And it's like looking in a mirror sometimes.
Yes.
What would you say has been the biggest learning for you as a mother and as a woman by watching your 5-year-old daughter?
Well, I think learning to speak up for yourself and not being afraid of saying what you want to say. I think that's something we should apply, because sometimes we are afraid of saying things, or yeah, we think of the consequences when kids actually don't. They just say whatever they feel like saying. So I think that's a good lesson, yeah.
And talk to us about what you've seen through her eyes that you might not have seen if you weren't a mother.
Hmm. What I've seen through her eyes. Well, that's also a good question. Um, well, I see that we can make life fun no matter what the circumstances are. We can turn it into a game.
Mm.
Um, for them, it can be a game and it can be fun. And even if it's tough, it's still, you can overcome it easier, I think, if you
They
look at that.
they do, and watching children through COVID-19 has been quite inspiring, I have to say. Everything is fun. Everything is a game, and of course, with that comes the challenge of learning through homeschooling. But
Yeah.
children do, especially when they're much younger. They tend to bring fun from any type of experience.
And they see the positive side of things. She never once complained of being at home, which is amazing. And yeah, it's interesting to see them. They adapt so easily.
They do. So today is about you, Andrea, but it's also about what you're learning through your life experience, not only as a woman, as a mother, but also as a citizen of the world. Let's talk a little bit about you when you were a teenager. What was it like to be Andrea through those teenage years?
Oh, as a teenager, I wanted to grow up quickly. I wanted to become independent. um, yeah, I wanted to be free. I thought that this was freedom, being on your own feet, out in the world. So yeah, that was my those were my teenage years. I was in Romania, studying high school there. So after living in Belgium for a few years, then Italy for another few years, I went to Romania when I was 15. So my teenage years were spent there. However, my main focus was leaving Romania. I didn't really like it, so my mind was always there, wanting to leave. So as soon as I finished high school, I left. That was the first thing I did.
Take us through leaving. Take us through those years. What was it like? What were your hopes and what were the consequences?
Well, I had big dreams of achieving a lot. Um, and I think most kids do, I hope. I think it's still good to have them. Sometimes those hopes don't turn out as you wish them to. You might get obstacles along the way, but it's still important that we have dreams, I think. So yeah, I had to choose where to move to. So I had the choice to come to Dubai or go to Belgium, where my mother was. And I chose Dubai. And I chose it purely based on feelings and intuition. I just came here and I liked it. There was something different about Dubai. It was different than any other country I had been to. So The smell, the heat, even the humidity, everything was different. Different culture. Yeah. So that's how I decided, basically.
So, what was it like to be here on your own at
Well, I
such a
have
young
my
age?
father here. I have my father here.
Okay,
So he came here first. So I was not alone. And then my ex-husband, my boyfriend at the time, he came here too. So I was never alone, basically. I always had someone with me.
wonderful. Now, with your mom being in Belgium and your dad being here with you in Dubai and your husband with you as well, what would you say had been the most comfort in knowing that you were in a new place, but you were also not alone? And what would you say you wish you could have done different during those early years?
Uh, well, we can always do things differently, but I don't regret any of the decisions I made at the time, to be honest. Um, I did different jobs in Dubai, and all of those jobs taught me something. So I took something from each experience, which is always good. I didn't always like the jobs that I was doing, but it happens.
Very
but that
common.
yeah, but it pushes you to move forward and look for something else, which I did. And then after a few years, I discovered I had cancer when I was 23 years old. So that was 4 years after moving to Dubai. And I took a break. Basically, I moved to Belgium for 9 months with my mother. I did my treatment over there because I trusted more the doctors over there. I had some bad experiences in Dubai at the time with getting diagnosed. So it took me 6 months to get a diagnosis. So when I finally found out what it was, I was in Belgium and I stayed there for the treatment. So I did chemotherapy for 6 months, and then I had to wait a bit longer for scans and tests and making sure that everything is fine. And then after that, I came back to Dubai.
So we're celebrating recovery right now. But in celebrating recovery, I know somebody's watching this right now thinking, wow, what was that like for you, 23 years old and being diagnosed with cancer?
Well, initially, I was very fit at the time as well. So I was active, I was eating quite healthy, I was full of energy. I, ha- I could not believe that I might be having cancer when the symptoms started. So I just had a swollen lymph node. And initially it was this tiny, tiny bump that I could feel. It was very small. And I went to the doctor straight away. Um, he told me what it could be. He said cancer. I said, well, I don't think I can have cancer because I'm feeling good. I feel amazing. I have energy. I'm working out. I'm, active. It cannot be cancer. Well, as time went on and I was doing different types of different biopsies and tests to try to figure out what it was, and this thing was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I realized, okay, wait a second, it actually could be cancer. It's possible. And reading about it online, it's called Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it usually affects young people. So I was at the right age for it. And yeah, it does happen when you least expect it. So it was a big hit. Yeah, it was. And I learned how to be patient, I guess. Waiting for results was the worst part of the diagnosis, because results always take time. It's usually a week to 2 weeks to get a result. So yeah, to be honest, I was very happy to start treatment after 6 months of not knowing what it was. I couldn't wait to just start treatment and get better and get over it. So, yeah.
What would you say was your strategy for overcoming the physical challenges of what you were enduring, and then the emotional challenges that you were facing because you were so young and thinking, I'm too young for this. This just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I hated the fact that I had to interrupt my life, even though it wasn't for a long period of time. When you're 20 something, you see like it's a waste of time, you know, you're wasting precious time when you could be doing something with your life. And I was angry at the beginning, and I did think, why is it happening to me? I think everybody asks themselves that question. But I stayed very positive. I was very, very positive. I knew from the beginning of the treatment that I would get over it and be healthy again. Like, I had it in my mind. So I had no doubt about being healthy again. So I think that contributed.
Amazing, amazing. And you obviously had a good support system with your mom being right next to you through that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need someone. When you go through that, you really need someone to be next to you, because it's tough physically. After my first chemotherapy session, I don't remember what happened for the following 3 to 4 days. I was in bed sleeping all the time. I just remember one day my mom said, okay, it's enough. You slept enough. We need to get out of the house a little bit. You need to get some fresh air. And I remember I could barely walk. Like, I could barely walk a couple of meters, and I told her, I cannot, I have to lie down, take me home. This is difficult. So yeah, it was tough. And going through that for 12 rounds was a challenge. The nausea, all the side effects from chemo were tough.
What were some of
Um,
those side effects for somebody watching that, they want to know more? They want to know what's coming.
well, the worst was nausea after immediately following chemotherapy. So I was in hospital usually for 8 hours on the day of the treatment, and then I would go home immediately after. So my mother was always there with me. She was driving me to the clinic, staying with me all day, and then we were driving back home. As soon as the treatment was over, I felt the need to throw up. So nausea was the worst, and it was going on for a few days after treatment, and the treatment was once every 2 weeks. So the second week was good. I was back to some kind of normal. And in fact, I did quite a few things in those weeks. I traveled while doing chemo. My father came and visited me. We went to Paris. We walked like crazy. I did not expect to be able to do that. So you have good days and bad days. Usually the first few days after treatment are tough, and then you can go back to some normality. I started hating the taste of some foods because I would associate them with the nausea. So foods that I ate in the beginning during treatment, I could not stand anymore. I could not eat them. Difficulty in going up and down the stairs. So they use in this specific treatment, they use a drug that affects the lungs. It's called bleomycin, and they had to stop it after a few months because my lungs were not handling it very well. Yeah, and you have to make sure you stay away from infections because your immune system is low, so you need to be careful, basically. Yeah.
Such a lot to take on being so young.
True.
But you're here today, and it's inspiring to see you here, and it's inspiring to hear you share your story. in the hope that somebody watching might find solace in knowing that you can do it and they can do it too.
Thank you, Maria. In fact, I was talking to a friend yesterday, and I was telling her that when I came back from Belgium, I started my own company and I was into fitness because I genuinely wanted to help people get fit and be healthy and understand nutrition and what you should be putting in your body and what you should be avoiding. And I did that because of my experience with cancer. It was a big motivation for me. But I never ever spoke about it in public. I had a Facebook page where I would share tips and, workouts, recipes, everything. And I still have it. It's not active, but I was going through it some time ago. And I realized I never spoke in front of the camera to tell people what it feels like, to encourage people. And, I should have done it. But confidence at that age is something that you don't really have. It comes more after the age of 30, I feel, especially in my case. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
That's really interesting that you bring that up. And I agree. I think sometimes we live experiences and we are resilient, we get through them, and we find that inner strength to make it through. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we're ready to be sharing it with the world in public. It takes a different type of readiness, I think, to do that. I know that you got married at 25
Yeah,
and you were married to the man that you met when you were 15 years old.
yeah.
What was it like to be with this person through that experience?
Well, he was very supportive. It was amazing having him next to me. Yeah. He was there from the beginning till the end, supporting me. Even after losing my hair, he would still tell me that I'm the most beautiful woman he had ever met. So that does help with confidence a little bit when you don't have hair anymore.
Mm.
Yeah, he was there, and I'm grateful for that.
It's so beautiful that you had that support system. Now, for somebody going through an experience like that, that might not have that type of support system, what would your words of support be for them?
Well, I think they should still surround themselves with friends, reach out to people, just stay in touch. Sometimes, just for your mental well being, you need to be in touch with people. Um, and usually, when you're in that situation, people will want to be next to you. I've seen that, I've experienced it. Old friends reached out to me when they saw photos of me, and they realized something was wrong. So I think people are there for one another. I still believe the world is filled with beautiful people. So yeah, and another advice is stay positive. I know it's very challenging when you go through that. Sometimes you don't see the end of it. It feels like it's never gonna end. And that was the case for me in the last part of the treatment. I really felt like it was never going to end, and it does. Eventually it does, but yeah, you have to be strong. Right now, what I would recommend, that I didn't know at the time, would be taking care of your mental health more. Try some meditation, um, breathing techniques. I've been reading a lot about it lately, and they do help. And I should, if I had applied some of these techniques, I would have probably made it easier on myself at the time. And eat healthy, something that doctors don't tell you. Eat healthy. um, yeah, drink a lot of water, start eating so much sugar. I really feel that oncologists should give more advice about nutrition. They're not. They let you eat whatever you want, and it's not good. Especially when you're sick with cancer, it's even more important that you follow a good diet. Yeah.
Now, Andrea, to anyone watching this, cancer is the ultimate in life challenges and traumatic experiences, and recovering from an experience like that, in my perspective, makes you a superhero.
Thank you.
But I know that your life was not just about the illness that you had at such a young age. There were other experiences that you had as a young female growing up and moving around the world. What would you say to a teenager watching this right now? What would you say has been the pinnacle stages in your life this far, aside from being diagnosed with cancer?
Well, I think moving to Dubai was one of them. I think young people should follow their dreams, and if they want to travel, they should definitely do it. They should not let others influence their decisions. I know it's hard for the families because I had that in my case. My mother always wanted me to move closer to her, and she still wants it. And now that I'm a mother, I totally get it. I think it's very difficult to hear from your child that they want to move to a different country, but I think it's good for their own development. They need to go through their own life experiences, so we should let them choose whatever they want, whatever path they want to take. So yeah. um, what else? A young adult should discover themselves first before entering a relationship. Even sometimes when you go in a relationship and you're too young, you don't know yourself yet, you haven't discovered what you like, what you don't like. And that means you cannot really put boundaries the way you should in a healthy relationship. You should always protect yourself as much as you can. So I think they should first take time and know what they want in life, have a goal, have a dream, and work towards it. And only that, get in a relationship with someone.
So inspiring. Andrea, what are your aspirations? What do you hope to achieve on the next part of your life journey?
Well, I want to be an independent woman. I'm learning right now how to be alone and enjoy it. And I think for the first time in my life, I'm enjoying being alone, which for me is a big achievement. um, yeah, I want to grow my career. So I'm working towards that. Learn more. I think we never stop learning. And right now with this quarantine, I've been doing a lot of a lot of things. And sometimes I think I want too much from myself and I should push the brake a little bit, because I want too many things at the same time, and it can get frustrating. Um, but yeah, I think keep learning, keep evolving, growing my career.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you believe that women can have it all?
Oh yeah, definitely. Why not? Who said it's not possible? Definitely, you can have a career, you can have kids. It's not easy. Definitely, it takes a lot of energy. Going like a typical day in my life would be waking up at 6:30 in the morning, preparing breakfast and lunch for my daughter, taking a shower, putting on makeup, putting on nice clothes for work, taking her to school, making sure I'm not late, and that's just the first 2 hours of the day. So it's not easy. It's a lot to handle. When you go back home in the evening, you have so many things to do. Again, prepare dinner, feed, if you have kids, feed the kids. So yeah, it can be challenging. So I think sometimes we need to pamper ourselves and go for a massage, for example, which I love. So you need to take care of yourself as well. But I think it's possible. If you have good time management skills, you can do it. Yeah.
You make it look so seamless, Andrea. You really, really do. It's so wonderful talking to you today.
Thank you.
Strong is not just about creating empowerment for our youth around the world. It's also about creating a support group for our guests and our role models in the world. How can we support you on your strong journey, Andrea?
Well, I don't know. Be there for me if I need you. I think we should all be there for each other. I think we should support each other more. Women should support women. And in the last few years, I did meet some women that are simply amazing. And I'm lucky to have them in my life. And they're always there with great advice because the advice comes from their heart and it's well meant. So I think, yeah, every woman should have a network of women around her that are strong, that inspire her. We need to surround ourselves with people that inspire us, definitely, and that we can learn something from.
And that brings us to the end of another amazing interview, another strong interview. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If it's the first time joining us, thank you for coming, and I hope to see you again next week. If you've been watching us regularly, thank you for your loyalty, and I hope to continue inspiring you with more brilliant episodes. Watch us again next week when we bring another fabulous woman to our Strong series.
It's okay, it takes time. I know everything will be alright. The colors will come